The vibrant, bustling heart of Columbus, Ohio, often hums with the energy of youth and ambition, a perfect backdrop for dreams taking flight. Yet nestled within its rhythm lies a chilling silence, the echo of a life that simply vanished. This is the perplexing tale of Brian Shaffer, a promising 27-year-old medical student whose disappearance from a crowded bar on March 31, 2006, continues to baffle investigators and haunt those who knew him. Brian was not just another face in the crowd. He was a beloved son, on the cusp of a bright future, a future tragically overshadowed by recent loss. His mother had passed away shortly before his vanishing, leaving a profound void in his life. The grief, coupled with the immense pressure of his medical studies, perhaps fueled his desire for an escape, a moment of solace before diving back into the demanding world of medicine. That fateful night began with a seemingly innocent celebration. It was spring break, a time for students to unwind, and Brian chose to spend it with his father, Randy Shaffer, and his friend, William Florence. The destination was the Ugly Tuna Saloona, a popular watering hole in the Arena district of Columbus. The atmosphere was casual, filled with the clinking of glasses and the murmur of conversations, a typical Friday night. Randy, Brian's father, joined them for an early drink, sharing a bond that was visibly strong. He left the bar early, believing his son was in good hands, enjoying a much-needed break from his studies and recent sorrow. After his father departed, Brian continued his evening with William and another friend, Meredith Reed. Multiple witnesses inside the Ugly Tuna Saloona confirmed Brian's presence, seeing him laughing, talking, and seemingly enjoying himself. He was last seen on the bar's security footage at approximately 1:55 a.m., speaking briefly with two women near the entrance. Then, as if swallowed by thin air, he was gone. The mystery deepened with the chilling discovery from the bar's CCTV cameras. The footage unequivocally showed Brian entering the establishment, but he was never seen leaving through the main public entrance. This was the crux of the enigma. The Ugly Tuna Saloona, by all accounts, had only one public entrance and exit point. Investigators scoured every frame, searching for any anomaly, any glimpse of Brian making his way out. There was nothing. The back exit theory quickly emerged, suggesting he might have used an alternative route. However, this supposed exit led to a construction area, inaccessible to the public at that time. How could a man simply disappear from a building that appeared to be sealed? As the hours turned into a new day, the initial alarm bells began to ring. William and Meredith searched frantically for Brian, their casual enjoyment slowly replaced by a growing sense of dread. Their calls to his phone went unanswered. Randy Shaffer, Brian's father, experienced a gnawing anxiety when his son failed to return his calls. His concern escalated quickly, and he contacted the police. However, the initial response was dishearteningly slow. Brian was an adult, 27 years old, and authorities often hesitate to launch full-scale searches for adults who might have simply chosen to take a spontaneous trip or stay out late. Yet, Randy knew his son, and this was out of character. The impenetrable mystery of how a man could simply vanish from a seemingly locked-down building, leaving no trace, began its relentless hold on everyone involved. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. The initial hesitation from authorities quickly dissolved into a full-scale investigation as the gravity of Brian's disappearance became undeniable. A missing person report was officially filed, and police resources were fully deployed. Search efforts intensified, fanning out from the Ugly Tuna Saloona across the vast Ohio State University campus, meticulously combing through every dormitory, academic building, and hidden alcove. The nearby Olentangy River, a dark and unforgiving ribbon of water, was dragged and searched, its murky depths offering no comfort or answers. Randy Shaffer, Brian's father, became the heartbroken face of the public appeals, his voice cracking with desperation as he pleaded with the media for any scrap of information that might lead to his son. His anguish was palpable, a father's worst nightmare unfolding in slow, agonizing motion. As weeks turned into months, various theories began to emerge, each one adding another layer to the perplexing enigma. Foul play was an immediate consideration, and suspicion briefly fell upon William Florence, Brian's friend, due to some perceived inconsistencies in his initial statements. However, after extensive questioning and polygraph tests, William was ultimately cleared of any wrongdoing. Another theory suggested a voluntary disappearance, fueled by Brian's profound emotional state following his mother's death. Perhaps the grief, coupled with the relentless pressure of his medical studies, had driven him to seek a new life, to simply walk away from it all and start anew, somewhere far from Columbus, Ohio. The thought was painful, but it offered a flicker of hope that Brian was alive, even if he didn't want to be found. Then there was the chilling possibility of accidental death, with the Olentangy River as a prime suspect. Yet, despite thorough searches, no body was ever recovered, leaving this theory hanging in the air, unconfirmed and unsettling. Investigators meticulously re-examined the grainy CCTV footage from the Ugly Tuna Saloona, hoping to find a detail previously overlooked. This led to the emergence of the man in white theory. A fleeting, indistinct figure dressed in white was briefly spotted near what some believed to be the bar's back entrance, raising questions about whether this was Brian or someone else entirely. The confusion surrounding the bar's layout, specifically the number of accessible exits, only compounded the mystery, with conflicting reports from staff and patrons. Was there a hidden way out that the cameras simply missed, or was Brian's exit deliberately obscured? Randy Shaffer, a man consumed by a singular, heartbreaking purpose, dedicated his life to finding his son. He became a relentless force, organizing countless search parties, distributing thousands of flyers with Brian's smiling face, and maintaining a constant, almost desperate media presence. The emotional toll was immense, a heavy cloak of despair that never lifted. Yet through it all, his unwavering love for Brian shone through, a beacon in the encroaching darkness. He refused to give up, clinging to every shred of hope, though each passing day made the prospect of finding Brian alive more remote. Then, a glimmer of hope, quickly extinguished. Days after his disappearance, Brian's phone pinged on a cell tower in central Ohio. The news sent a jolt of agonizing hope through Randy and the investigators. Calls were made again and again, but each one went directly to voicemail. There were no further pings, no messages, just the sterile voice of an automated system. The agonizing hope swiftly turned into crushing disappointment, a cruel tease in an already unbearable situation. The ping offered no concrete clues, only an ephemeral trace that vanished as quickly as it appeared. Years later, a new tragedy struck, adding another layer of heartbreak to the already cold case. Randy Shaffer, the tireless father who had devoted his life to finding his son, died in a freak accident. A falling tree during a severe storm claimed his life, leaving Brian's disappearance more mysterious and sorrowful than ever. His death left an immeasurable void, taking with him the one person who refused to let the world forget Brian, leaving the case colder than it had ever been. With Randy Shaffer gone, the last relentless advocate for Brian's return had vanished, leaving an even more profound silence in his wake. As years continued their relentless march, the case of Brian Shaffer, once a beacon of heartbreaking urgency, slowly but inevitably went cold. The police, despite their best efforts and the dedication of individual officers, found themselves with no substantial leads, no new evidence to pursue. The initial fervor of the investigation dwindled, and while the file remained open, the resources allocated to it diminished, a stark reality for many unsolved disappearances. In 2011, after half a decade of agonizing uncertainty and no trace of his whereabouts, Brian Shaffer was officially declared dead, a legal pronouncement that offered no emotional closure, only a grim acknowledgement of the probable. Yet even as official channels cooled, the enduring mystery of Brian's disappearance refused to fade from the collective consciousness. His case transcended a simple missing person report, evolving into a chilling legend within the true crime community. Online forums buzzed with theories, amateur detectives poring over every detail, every grainy image, every witness statement, attempting to piece together the impossible puzzle. The sheer audacity of his vanishing act, a man walking into a bar and simply ceasing to exist, captivated and frustrated in equal measure. It became a benchmark for inexplicable disappearances, a constant reminder of the fragile line between presence and absence. The psychological impact of Brian's vanishing was a wound that never truly healed for those who knew and loved him. For his remaining family and friends, the pain lingered, a phantom limb ache for a life abruptly severed. The unsettling thought that someone could simply vanish without a trace, leaving no note, no body, no explanation, gnawed at their sense of security and trust in the world. The human need for closure, a fundamental desire to understand and mourn, was perpetually denied, replaced by an endless loop of unanswered questions and what-ifs. Every birthday, every holiday, every passing year served as a fresh reminder of the void Brian left behind. The legacy of Brian Shaffer, therefore, extended far beyond his personal tragedy. He became a symbol of unsolved mysteries, a poignant illustration of the fragility of life and the limitations of even the most thorough investigations. His story continued to be a cautionary tale, a stark reminder for vigilance, for holding loved ones close, and for questioning the seemingly impossible. It fueled countless discussions about security, surveillance, and the hidden corners of human experience. Though his physical presence was gone, his memory persisted, sustained by the enduring hope that one day, the truth, however painful, might finally emerge from the shadows. The final, agonizingly unanswered question remained, echoing in the silence. Was Brian's disappearance a planned escape from a life overwhelmed by grief and pressure, a voluntary act to carve out a new existence? Was it a tragic accident, perhaps a misstep into the unforgiving Olentangy River, his body swept away unseen? Or was it something far more sinister, an act of foul play meticulously executed, leaving no discernible trace? The ultimate betrayal was not merely his absence, but the impenetrable silence that surrounded his fate, denying any resolution, any justice. The final image etched into the minds of those who searched for him was Brian's smiling face, vibrant and full of promise, captured in photographs from a life abruptly and inexplicably cut short. He was frozen in time, forever lost to the currents of an unsolved mystery, leaving behind a profound sense of unresolved loss, emphasizing the tragic reality that some mysteries, despite all human efforts, remain forever unsolved, leaving a permanent aching void in the fabric of existence.